All right, guys. So today, Snoop603, Scannerbarkley, Pwn Star for Hire, and myself, FakeThriller, are all here. We're going to talk about the recent events in the Battlefield community regarding EA's marketing of Battlefield 4. Now, the idea here is to sort of just discuss it and get everybody's point of view because we all have a different perspective within the recent events. So what I'd like to do is first, Pwn, if you wouldn't mind just telling a quick story about you were asked to go out to San Francisco to see the Battlefield 4 reveal. If you could just give us a quick overview of what you went out, what you did, and so forth.
Sure, yeah, I get it. Yeah. So basically, they contacted me about a week and a half before it all went down. It was like, we'd like to fly you and a handful of other people out. Basically, there was this thing that everybody had to sign up for. Some of the bigger guys in YouTube, we all signed up for it. They chose the ones they wanted to go. I was invited by EA. And I believe I was the only primary Battlefield player that EA invited. It was completely separate from what DICE and Battlefield did. I believe they invited Level Cap, Stun Gravy, which is the Rendezvous guy, Russian Badger, and I think X-Pac. They invited their own 4 guys, which nobody knew. There was like no communication between the Battlefield team and the EA team. And they invited 11 Call of Duty players, which were Woody's Gamertag and all those guys. Many people know this by now. Yep. We all went out there. We all met up. We waited in a line. It was just this kind of like secretive thing. I mean, even though we, had a little bit of special treatment, there was a lot of news there, a lot of cameras, a lot of guys ready to try to find out what was going on, laptops everywhere, suits and all that kind of stuff. So we go into this little corridor. There's like, we're in an actual movie theater though. So it's not like something unique and special. It's like we're right in the line starts like right near the concession stand, like this popcorn smell and everything. So we go through, they have curtains up so nobody knows this is like official ghetto. They have like curtains up to guide you through all these little things just to get into one of these theater rooms. Everybody sits down. Everybody sat there for about 30 minutes waiting to see what's going on. We saw the exact same, Fishing of Baku trailer that you guys saw, except for the guy played it live in front of us. So it was damn near the same thing. He took the same routes. Nothing really changed, except for there were a few different things that, enemies were in different areas or something like that. So for the most part, all we did was go there, see the exact thing that everybody else saw from home. And then we went to an after party. We went upstairs on the roof, and everybody drank and shared stories about YouTube money. That's kind of what happened.
Sweet. Now, one of the perks for going, though, was you were granted permission to post the footage of that trailer before everybody else, right?
Some people.
Okay.
Some people were permitted to do that. Some were not. Again, like I said, I think people within EA, the ones that EA invited, I think they were allowed to. I mean, again, I'm not certain, but I know we had opportunity to post 24 hours after it was on Battlefield.
Okay, all right, and then after that, you made a different video for the Battlefield YouTube, was it?
Oh yeah. Oh, that took me off guard. I wasn't ready for that. I wouldn't have made it if I would have known it was on their YouTube.
Because that's the big talking point that was like day one. Like you put your video up, and then shit went crazy the next day when White Boy put his video up.
Took 5 minutes, and then took both of ours down.
Yeah.
Basically, they contacted me. I was on my way home. We were in Utah or something. I live in Ohio. We were on our way home from San Fran, and I get a message from one of the guys there, and they're like, "Hey, is there any way you can make a 60-second clip talking about your first impression?" And I'm like, sure, and I'm like, okay, I could do this. So I pulled over, I didn't have any of my recording equipment, stopped at Best Buy, picked up a mic and everything like that, recorded it that night, sent it to them. They had to send it to the, ESRB to get rated and stuff. And overall, it was just a really cool honor. You know what I mean? A lot of people watch the video and like, oh, this is scripted. They paid you to say that. I'm like, no, none of that happened. It was all me. I was kind of nervous. It was something I wanted to say. And I kept making the commentary and having to like compress it because they're like, you got 60 seconds to do this because you have to do it within a certain limit. And there's so much I wanted to say about the game. It came out like it was rehearsed and it was scripted and everything like that because I was trying to be professional. I was trying to do it as best as I could. And it came out kind of cheesy. I'm not even gonna lie.
Right. And I mean, your video, it went up, but it didn't catch nearly as much flack as White Boy's went up. So what I really want to focus on is the Battlefield's community's reaction or overreaction to White Boy's video. Like, what's your take on the fact that White Boy's video got put up and then taken down because of community outcry and all that?
That, I think, was a just perfect example of saving ass. They realized they made a mistake, and at that point, mine had a significant amount of hate. It had like 4,000 likes and 1,000 dislikes or something. The majority of that was a lot of people being impatient. They don't want to see the same trailer they've seen 40 times. You know what I mean? They wanted to see multiplayer. So a few people disliked it because of that situation. Some people just don't naturally like me and my form of commentary. A lot of the Battlefield players are old school. They like to see stats. They like to see people like level cap. They like to know about the game and see things like that. But a big part of it was because I'm an ex-Call of Duty player.
Right.
And that's where the flack came from. There's a lot of hostility between the two communities. It's just like a rivalry.
Right. Now, we have sort of the same roots. Like, we didn't pick up Battlefield, really. Like, we played a little bit of Bad Company 2. But me and Snoop, we didn't really start playing Battlefield until Battlefield 3. And up until then, we were Call of Duty boys. Like, right up through Black Ops 1. And then Modern Warfare 3 was a shit show. And then it was Battlefield 3 full time for us.
Yep.
Now, like, that's got to be, like, that's the rivalry that made everybody so mad about White Boy. Do you think EA and DICE are doing the right thing by getting the Call of Duty guys involved?
Yes. Think of it from a business standpoint. Now, as a community, as somebody, I'd like to say I don't want anything to change. I want my community to stay the same. I love my Battlefielders. I don't want these COD guys coming over here running around like fucking ducks with their heads cut off. They don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. But it's ignorant and it's dumb to believe that our community is not going to change. It's dumb to believe that a company like EA, of its size, its main focus is to make money, correct?
Right,
That's
just like
what
anything.
you want to look for. Exactly. So the way to do that is fine. Now, as current Battlefield players, as commentators, we post the game. They know we're going to post Battlefield 4. They know our fans are going to see us promoting Battlefield 4, intentionally or not. That's the game we post because we love it. The reason they're reaching out to the Call of Duty audience is because those guys do not know about the game. They don't have their commentators backing it up. So they're attacking an entirely new audience. That is business. So if what they're doing, I understand it from a business standpoint. May not like it as a Battlefield player, but I am all for it because if our numbers don't go up, if this game actually does this, and I know this for a fact, if the game keeps the same sales or starts dropping and losing money, they will terminate the Battlefield title. The series will be gone. So they need to reach out. They need to make more money. They need to sell more copies. And their way to do that is by using the YouTube crowd and the Call of Duty community.
Right. Now, Snoop, do you have that was put well. I sort of agree with what you said. Snoop, do you have anything else? I mean, you sounded like you're in agreement.
Yeah, I'm 110% in agreement. It's funny because like a lot of these Battlefield fans, and not even Battlefield fans, it's any devoted fan, if you will, quote unquote devoted fan of any gaming franchise, they make it sound like, or they try to make it sound like that any game that they're a fan of is like their own personal little baby. Like that's their thing and you better not fuck with it. But they forget that this is run by a business and the only reason people get into business is to make money. Now, you might not like Call of Duty, and that's fine, whatever, everyone has their own personal tastes. I'm not going to bash you whether you do like it or don't like it. But you have to respect what they're doing because I guess the problem is a lot of people think that just because they're bringing in the Call of Duty crowd, they're trying to make the game like Call of Duty. What? No, that's not it. You guys aren't looking at it from the business aspect. Just like Pone said, the whole reason they're doing it is they're trying to go after an entire customer base that's untouched, that has no idea, or as they see it, has no idea about the franchise. They're trying to get it just out there and give it more visibility. That's all it is about. It's not like they're trying to change the franchise into something completely different.
Right. Everybody's extremely protective of the game. They don't want the new people coming in. And then the way I put it is every one of us were outsiders at one point. You know, we've all make the adjustments. We all have the right to like different games. And it's along the lines of the way I look at it. I came over a little bit before Battlefield 3 beta was out. And my situation was I was a full-time aggressive, 100-plus kills, Call of Duty kill whore. That's what I was. I wasn't a team player. I wasn't anything like that. And I'll admit it. And you can expect that a lot of the Call of Duty players are coming over here. Your fears will be confirmed with that. Now, A, there's two things you could do. A, you could sit there, bitch at them, tell them go back to COD, and be, complete assholes about it. Or B, you could go in there, you can help them, you could teach them, and the sooner you help them become better Battlefield players, the much easier everything will be. You know, rather than just being an asshole about something, if you actually help them adjust to the game, teach them the importance of win-loss, teach them the objective. When you teach them how to do that stuff, they're going to be on your team. So if you're going to be a dick about everything, you're the ones not helping people become better for your team. So all these people that are so upset about it, I had the hardest transition ever when I came from Call of Duty. And I admit, I didn't play the objective when I first started playing Battlefield. I played Metro nonstop, because that was kind of my transfer. That was kind of like my adjustment. I was used to COD. Metro was kind of the game type, and Rush was very similar to what I was used to, fast-paced. And then I started leveling out. After a month or two, I felt comfortable. Went to Bazaar, went to Sign Crossing, I went to all the other different maps, and I finally became a Battlefield player. But it was because of all the hostility and all the blame and the, you're a faggot, go back to COD, you know, that I wasn't taught what to do. I was just getting bitched at all the time. So eventually when I taught myself, it took so long. But if I would have had help and guidance, it would have been such an easy transition.
Right. I still talk about things in Battlefield that I don't realize have been in the Battlefield series for a decade. And I'm waiting to catch shit for that. Scanner, what about you? When did do you have Battlefield history, or did you come over with Battlefield 3?
No, I've got every game history.
Nice.
You know, I played Battlefield when it came out. I played the first Unreal. I played Doom. I played COD. I just play games, man. If anyone has a problem with that, they can fucking blow me. Like, that's been my stance consistently, and that's the way I'm building my channel. Like, just expect anything.
So you're the original old guy gamer, done everything.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you have, like, any differing opinions about, like, the marketing or anything?
No, not at all. Like, I made 2 videos talking about it as each uproar happened.
Yeah.
I made a video just reiterating my stance that, like, as Pone said, it made sense to bring in,
right,
you know, the Call of Duty guys to expose it to a new market, and people shitting themselves over it were shitting themselves over nothing.
Now, what about the argument that people are making that the Battlefield YouTube has never been used to promote any of the homegrown Battlefielder content? Like they've never uploaded community stuff, and now all of a sudden, I guess Pone, you still have a label as a COD player, even though you've been playing Battlefield 3 since beta.
I consider myself a COD player, but I consider myself a Battlefielder. I belong to the Battlefield community, not the COD community. I play the game, but that's not the game that I care about. If I had to pick between the two, it'd be Battlefield all day. That's the one that I belong to.
Right.
And you know, that's what everybody else is. They're so protective of the game. They think that you have to play this or that, and it's more along the lines of like that, you know, the game doesn't belong to you. You belong to the game. That's what I am. I want to be a part of the community. That's what I've always wanted when I came over here. And the transition was a little bit rough, but with the EA thing going on and then bringing in the people, I think the biggest fear with them promoting this is everybody's afraid that the YouTube community is afraid that it's going to change with White Boy and Woody and everybody posting. What they don't understand is these people are making money and are being paid to post this kind of stuff. When the money stops flowing through, they're going to stop posting it. I almost lost my channel. I had to rebuild from scratch when I transitioned from COD to Battlefield. These guys that are making, you know, those big guys, they're making 20, 30, 40 grand a month. That's the kind of money they're making. If they went to Battlefield, they'd be making a couple grand a month. There's no way in hell you're going to expect to see these guys post this as a primary Battlefield. So a lot of people are worried about White Boy coming over here.
But wouldn't it be like ironic and eventually hypocritical for the Battlefield community? Like let's say White Boy fell in love with Battlefield 4, and that's what he wanted to start posting, regardless of how much money he's losing and everything. How long would it take for, you know, the Battlefield community to get over the fact that he used to play Call of Duty? Like,
I don't think they would, man.
It took me a while. White Boy is an entirely different example.
Right? Yeah. No. I keep saying
one.
White Boy because he got up on the Facebook and the Battlefield YouTube and everything.
Even Woody would be hard. It just depends on, you know, the likability of somebody. If somebody's just that kind of likable guy, like one of the guys that went out there, his name is Chris Smoove. You may or may not know of him, but he's always kept his nose clean. He's a really good entertainer. If he transitioned from Battlefield, it would take him about a month before he would be accepted. It'd be no time at all.
Right, and then
it really depends on the person.
Yeah, Battlefield would rally around him, and he'd be our new champion, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long.
Yeah, what I find really funny is there's this consistent argument that I'm seeing ever since White Boy's video went up that, like, oh, you know, they're COD, they don't understand, whatever, as if there's some kind of freaking consensus from 17 million people, and that one person who's tweeting or commenting in YouTube is, you know, authorized to speak for 17 million people who have bought Battlefield 3. As if, they're all sitting there going, oh, we want this from Battlefield, we want that, we don't want these people involved, we want XYZ people rewarded. And then you go to Battlelog, which is like the community hub, quote unquote, and they're all bitching and moaning and fucking arguing with each other about every single facet of the game. It's like, okay, you motherfuckers can't make up your mind about anything, yet this happens and you all universally hate someone. That's just some sad shit.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
It really is. Like, I'm vocal and outspoken about my dislike of the Battlelog forums and the attitude prevalent there.
Yeah, the same thing with Reddit too. The Reddit crowd around Battlefield is just, it's insanity, dude. I won't even go on there anymore.
Yeah, I gave up over there too. You cannot fuck with the Reddit hive mind.
They'll mess shit up. You'll wake up and your channel will just be burning. Like, what did I do to you?
Because Level Cap did it 3 weeks before or something.
Yeah.
This is old news.
But it's just, I don't know. It's all overreactive. I think a lot of it is like people won't admit that they're getting a little tired of Battlefield 3 because they all love it so much, and they're like, no, it's a great game, and fuck you for not loving it still. Remember the reaction we got when all we said was, yeah, I'm starting to wind down on it.
Right.
Jesus Christ! I swear I punched Gustav Halling in the face.
I got pretty fucked up too. There was a moment a couple months back where I was like, guys, I gotta take a break. I'm not enjoying the game anymore. And these guys were like, you fucking traitor! They put the knives to my throat and they were like, we're done, you're dead to me. How dare you turn it back? Go back to COD, faggot. I knew you were going to do it. And I'm like, damn it! Like the one thing I didn't want. And, yeah, it was rough.
Is there a way that the community could, like what's the end game here? Is there a way that the community can grow up other than effectively growing up and becoming more mature?
And what's going to happen is there's going to need to be people to help guide that. There are always going to be leaders in communities. But unless those designated people step up and do what's right to help the transition, things will get worse. Everybody's so afraid, Everybody's so afraid of, 12-year-old fucking COD, Xbox players coming over here. They're freaking out about that aspect. I'm like, dude, it's not like they can talk shit in the lobby. You can't hear anything, It's not near as bad as people are afraid of. I know for damn sure you're not. It's like impossible to do crazy sniper trick shots and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know the fear. I don't understand it.
What could they possibly do? Like in game, how could they possibly really affect you?
Trolling already exists. I do the hell out of that. I mean, what could they do to make it any different?
Yeah,
the best thing we can do is teach them. Teach them and everything will be better. Because understand, sooner or later, they're going to be on your team. And if you weren't willing to help them, they're going to fuck you over.
The worst thing is the Battlefield community has a good sense of humor. We celebrate the good trolls. There's guys out there with their YouTube channels, they do fucking hilarious shit, and we enjoy it. But if the source was a guy who played Modern Warfare 2 for a week, we'd fucking hate him.
It would be insulting if somebody.
That's what most of those guys are doing. The guys that are just posting these couple of in-game videos, they're all dirt bike trolling, and they're like, the Call of Duty guys are praising them. Like, that's funny. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that was.
I've been doing that for 2 months. What are you doing?
I forget who. Actually, it was Scannerbarkly, right? He got the first endgame footage up, but everyone was pissed because he was trolling people with C4, stuff that's been done for a year on since day one. People have been trolling with C4 in Battlefield.
It is a different community. You don't like to see your game being played wrong, and be it And this is where things get a little confused. This is something I think about quite often. Is everybody gets pissed because they're afraid of Call of Duty players coming over here killing and not playing the objective, right? Yeah, that's their big fear, is not being an asset to the team. They're afraid that they're gonna fuck up and just be useless, and that's a waste of a squad mate.
Yeah.
Now think about those guys that you praised. We just talked about the guys like Doom and Chowboy. All these guys, they post these videos that are all trolling. To be fair, they're not really doing much to help their team.
Right, how many...
I do it, I run around, I go 2-16 all the time when I've got C4 and a dirt bike. Do I care? That's in a 40-minute period, too. I'm doing nothing to help my team, but you still praise it on YouTube.
That's a good point. So, that exemplifies Scanner's point about...
Yep.
Doom does it, and CNanners does it, but CNanners Call of Duty, so it's a slap in the face, but Doom is hilarious.
The funniest thing, those troll guys are, generally speaking, pretty fucking good at the game, too.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I remember got in a lobby with, a load of people that Mantis knows, and they were fucking beasting out. And then you go off and check out their YouTubes and stuff, and everybody considers them to just be like diehard trolls. And you're like, if you're ever in a lobby with these guys, they're not going to troll you. They're just going to fucking walk all over you and win.
Right.
That's a heavy idea behind people. People didn't know that. When I first started on YouTube about 3 or 4 years ago, Call of Duty, I started playing Modern Warfare 2. I was the guy that posted up the incredible gameplays and things you've never seen before. And then I got tired of having that responsibility that I have to do this every time. So then I turned into the goofball. That's when I found I wanted to be just like a goofy, random kind of guy on YouTube. And it got to this point where I was playing a Call of Duty tournament with the best out there. And I placed like third. I was 1 kill off a second or something like this. And everybody was shocked, like, where the fuck did this little random troll come out of nowhere from? And it's one of those things. But people look at that. That's what I'm saying, is people look at Doom and he gets praised. But, you know, if I see a guy on my team doing that, or people that they're afraid that, one of the big things I see is they're like, oh, don't bring them camping people over here. I believe Doom and these people make a living on putting C4 on these guys who are sitting on the rocks. They already exist. We have those in the lobbies already. So I think everybody's afraid of this, but this is just a people problem. It's a community thing.
So the irony is, the great fear seems to be that the Battlefield community will slowly morph into the Call of Duty community. And the Call of Duty community is quite kind of almost exclusive as to whether they accept you or not, you know, and we're trying to become exclusive as well. It's like, rather than sitting there and go, unless it's like a lot of the COD dudes, unless you're diehard COD, you're a faggot, and that's just the way they see it. And we're going to replicate their attitude and reach a different end result. That's not going to happen. We should just, as Pone said, we should welcome in new players. A noob to a game is, generally speaking, not really much of an asset. When I picked up Battlefield 3 the first time, I was running negative every time. And it took me a while to get into the game, to figure shit out, to learn it, and to get good.
It's the attitude you have to teach. I came over, and I was going 40-5 every game. So it wasn't even like I was hurting my team. I was actually helping my team, but I was worrying about killing versus playing the objective. So I was actually helping my team, but that wasn't my focus, and they knew that. I was having fun killing, because that's what I was used to from COD. So the biggest thing you could do is teach them about the important parts of Battlefield. Not necessarily teach them to become a better player, but what we do over here on the Battlefield side. You need to teach them the importance of playing the objective, and the fact that winning is more of a priority. I just straight up warn that the first time White Boy posts a Battlefield 4 video and it says 58-2, he's fucked. Nobody cares about the kill death ratio. It's all about winning.
If you could inject new players with the experience of a zero-ticket clutch disarm, you know, that would be a great way to get people going. It'd be like, holy shit, that felt amazing. Those wins always feel amazing when they're right down to the wire. Everybody's PTFO'd hard, and it's almost luck between two evenly matched teams that wins it.
Yeah, that heartbreak when you're on the defending team and you hear that final whoop.
Yeah, you're
and
like,
then, and then all of a sudden the two MCOMs appear and you're like, they fucking got it?
Right.
What the
fuck? Yeah, that's the shit. But
so, all right, just in the interest of time, I think it would be best if we start to wrap things up. So I think the overall message we're trying to send is we need new players, so we should welcome and help them.
Right. Exactly. Don't be afraid of change and try and look at things logically. Just because EA is looking at the COD YouTubers to branch out and further build the audience does not mean they're changing the game to be like Call of Duty.
Right.
Exactly.
That's true. I've got something coming up Sunday to actually, I guess, alleviate some of that stress too. What I meant to say is another big fear is with the crowd. They're worried about the kids coming over. To be fair, I remember back when I was a child, and I also know what it's like to play Battlefield. I don't think most of these kids are going to have the patience and understanding to play a game like this. They're going to pick it up, and they're going to be like, oh, I'm going back to COD. So that's a big fear that people should probably just eliminate right now. Because if this game is not fast-paced enough or have what they're used to, they're just going to flake and go.
Right. And you almost you're forced to learn aspects of the game just to get involved in the areas where you'd need to be to ruin it. Like no kid is gonna go and buy Battlefield so he can sit on the like the beach way away, like 500 yards from the objective to screw the man, you know? People that are willingly making the change are probably doing it to come play Battlefield, and we should be
they're
accepting.
interested in what's being presented to them, and that's Battlefield. That's why they're making the purchase.
That's what I believe in. And another thing with this is people need to understand we're saying support the Battlefield community. We're not saying support the Call of Duty commentators themselves. We're not saying support them. Even though it is a smart task, DICE and EA are actually reaching out to the commentators for once, which means we're able to give them our input. We're able to do a lot of stuff. So whether or not you want to grit your teeth, go with it, and support them to show that we can be important to the community or not, just help the players that are coming over. If it means you don't want to help the Call of Duty commentators, so be it, just like their videos. But the people themselves are the ones that are going to be in your lobbies, and you should help them out.
Right.
So,
all right,
that's my piece.
I think it's a good overall message. So if anybody has anything else they want to tack on right here, now would be a good time. If not,
no.
All I'm going to say is, if you look back at anyone's gaming history, you will find a game that you dislike or hate. Everybody, your best friends that you play with every fucking day, you're going to find a game that you dislike or hate. It's no reason to make assumptions or to treat that person like they do not belong to your community. And it's that fucking simple. You want to sit there and be an asshole and be a jerk off? Cool. Do it on your own time. Don't assume that an entire community feels the same way you do.
And another way to think about it too that might just keep people from mouthing off about telling people to go back to COD is if anybody from Battlefield wanted to go over to COD, nobody would bat an eye. Nobody in the Call of Duty community would even pay you any attention that you came from Battlefield.
Nope, and that's something you got to understand. And if they're willing to do that, you need to do. When X Factor and Level and some of these guys started posting COD, the dislikes and the general disapproval was actually from the Battlefield.
Yeah.
It wasn't from the COD guys.
Right.
We could be better than that.
So they're actually being the bigger men right now. Then.
Oh, now you're challenging them. You're gonna get hate. You're done. Close your channel, bro. Close your channel.
You just thank yourself. I'm sending safety tweets right now that I was kidnapped and forced to do this.
We were doing so well. All right, this is a wrap. I'm scrapping the whole thing. All right, with that, I think we will call it quits, though. So I think we had a good conversation. I'd love to hear what everybody who watched this video has to think if they want to leave a comment down below. And I believe everybody's channel link will be in the description wherever you happen to be watching this. So I think that's all out of me.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you, Scanner, for joining us. Thank you, Pwn Star, for joining us as well. We appreciate it, man.
For sure.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll catch you all later.